Clock Tower. Now that's a series I bet not many people are aware of. Clock Tower is a series of survival horror games with gameplay that also categorizes it in the point-and-click adventure gaming genre, much like King's Quest, Dark Seed, or more recent example, Back to the Future the game. The series started off with a rather simple interface, where the pointer locks onto a relevant object to interact with. The first game, simply called Clock Tower, was released on the Super Famicom in 1995. That's the Super Nintendo in Japan, in case you didn't know. Now, this game never made it overseas for reasons Nintendo of America didn't want back then, and I can see why. This game is freaking disturbing! You got a helpless adopted little girl here with her friends who may have been killed, running from a boy with a giant pair of shears, just waiting to snip more than her hair off. Oh, and there's a human heart and whoa, shit! Then there's a sequel, released in 1996 for the PlayStation called Clock Tower 2 in Japan, and simply Clock Tower here in the States a year later. For this game, it felt more like an approach to B horror films, thanks to the voice acting.
So it used to hang in the Barrows mansion.
Yes, what wonderful times they were, except for...
Jennifer, you're still alive.
Inspector Gotts! Thank heaven, you're all right.
It's Assistant Inspector.
But I do know one thing. If we don't kill Scissorman, he'll kill us whether we get out of here or not.
What was that?
You saw them too? I've seen them a few times already. They are probably the ghosts of the children killed here.
Well, not like the first Resident Evil was any better anyway. This game was a little bit more advanced. It gave you more control over the character, more locations as multiple levels, and like the first game, this had multiple endings and 2 main playable characters plus 2 playable support characters in different locations, giving you plenty of reasons to go back again and again. A year after that, we got Clock Tower 2, The Struggle Within. Yeah, this game right here. Haven't heard of it till a few years ago, thanks to YouTube. Alright, Clock Tower. Prepare for a journey into the darkest recesses of human experience. Almost sounds like racist to me. Having been buried alive, she has arisen and is out for revenge. She is thirsty for blood. Whoa, let's not get ahead of ourselves here. Switch between personalities. Killer 7, looks like I found your inspiration right here. 13 different endings and battle-crazed enemies, including a psycho knife-wielding child, zombies... Wait, whoa, what? Zombies? Yeah, you immediately know this has nothing to do with the previous 2 games, at least in terms of story. Well, there's only one thing to do now. We pop this video game in and play that game. Alright, hey, where's the game? I think there's supposed to be a game going on here or something. Oh, excuse me. Okay, so we begin with a bit of exposition about our hero, Alyssa Hale. Now, if you want a game with awkward pauses, even worse voice acting even by B-movie standards, and bad-looking graphics even by 1999 standards, this is the game for you.
Anyway, that might be Ashley.
I'll go and see.
Alan Hale. That Maxwell curse is...
There's a lot more of that in this game. I figured you should know now, so I'd save you the trouble, because this happens throughout the entire game. And hey, I'd hate to spend an hour just to point them out. Here she is, Alyssa Hale, schoolgirl and completely oblivious to the top of the fucking disembodied torso in the bathtub? Man, she has her priorities straight.
Made of metal.
I don't know about you, but this doesn't look like blood to me. It looks more like the family dog had a major accident and their urine is made of as— Hey, wait a minute! Now, for some reason, you can't go upstairs. I mean, you can click on the front door and it tells you that you can't open it for some reason, so why not the stairs? I can't go to this door either. What gives? Well, I can go into this door to find a decapitated arm. Good. Oh, now I can go upstairs. They couldn't be bothered to throw in a sentence saying, I don't know, maybe I should check downstairs first? I think this game could afford a few more kilobytes to put that there. Maybe I'm just picky.
Don't be afraid, Alyssa.
Oh, so there's the other personality. And may I add, he sounds like Vegeta if he's got a bad case of allergies and stuffed a can of hot boiling chili down his throat.
Yellow blood. Who bleeds yellow blood? Who the hell are you? Hurry up, old lady. Get the hell out of here. Alyssa's asleep. I'm here instead. What?
Oh, and you find a gun. I'll explain it in a moment. But before that, you find this amulet down on the floor of this house. Picking it up changes Alyssa's personality back to herself. Now this is part of the gameplay was touched on by a hint I gathered back in the washroom, but let's look over the book a bit. Okay, I'll just give you a synopsis. Alyssa's alter ego, Bates, was responsible for murdering her fellow classmates. Recently, she discovered that having that amulet is what keeps her from turning into a complete psychopath. Also, she was on the train ride to her uncle's house, all without the amulet. What? Our hero, a schoolgirl who has a psychopathic side of her, in which if something were to happen, like this for example, she would have went on another murderous rampage at the snap of the finger. Smart. Hey, something's happening. And here's where the beef of the game comes in. Now in Clock Tower tradition, you don't have anything on hand to defend yourself, so all you can do is run. To elude your pursuer, you have to find a hiding spot and wait for him or her to give up, or find something to knock them out with, like a chair. Except there's a bunch of chairs you could use, but only one or two particular per chapter are usable. During this phase, you can't do puzzles, and you can't interact with certain objects if the stalker is in the same room, which gets annoying later in the game, but once you know where to hide at, and what you can use an infinite number of times, you shouldn't have an issue. Unlike the first two games, where there was an added sense of urgency where not all the hiding places will work all the time. First time, yeah, but you'll constantly need to find a new place to hide, and find spots where you can completely elude just Scissor Man. So this game did dumb some things down. And it got dumbed down even more thanks to Bates. The gun takes one hit to down the little girl and elude her. Shouldn't be surprised, but it kinda kills the suspense and terror that the back of the case tells you if she goes down in a hit, let alone a kick. Granted, she comes back, but it still feels too easy to elude. Now how guns work is you can only carry one at a time, and you'll need a new one every time you run out of ammo. Bates refuses to hide or use melee weapons, so you'll need Alyssa for that. Oh, and to become Bates, you have to put your amulet down in places where it is apparently and will always be normal, and, I kid you not, get attacked and she or he will do a punt to the face. Picking up the amulet switches Alyssa back to her formal personality. Now we proceed to this and... Oh, I died. In a cutscene and I had no control over that. Oh well, time to cut... Are we gonna... Credits? I'm not kidding. This game ended as soon as a half an hour. Ending M, eh? What's jarring about this is that if you die normally here, it just gives you a game over. And the only thing that qualifies this as an ending is because of this one sentence. That's it. Oh, and the game resets when you obtain an ending. Great! 1 down, 12 to go. This is gonna be a long game. So I put down the amulet, go in, cutscene plays differently.
Hurry up, old lady. Get the hell out of here. The little twerp. I'll kill her next time.
It's amazing how every time you open your mouth, you prove you're an idiot.
Proceed further and, oh, she's dead. And I'm dead too. What gives? Oh, I'm sorry, I'm stupid. I need to lock the door and then see if Catherine is okay before I go back to unlock it, cause that's the only key in the game that isn't immediately useless after use.
From Mr. Alan Hale. It's from my father.
The statue I sent belongs to the Maxwell family. Ultimately, it was only a statue, and probably has nothing to do with the Maxwell's magic powers. There is probably nothing to the curse either. I'm giving you the statue.
Statue?
So after reading a letter and learning that the statue is probably cursed, we go to find it's missing. And going back down as Bates talks to Tate, and Tate gets his arm chopped off and forces us into another bad ending.
Doesn't it, old man? There you are, you little runt.
As Alyssa, though, he gives us a key, which we use to go to the den and get choked to death by him. Now this gives you a game over, but if you're Bates, this gives you an ending. Fun.
You're crazy.
Now once you realize you can elude this, you would explore more of the house, and I gotta say, one of the main problems in this game is the general lack of direction, as the game just kinda leaves you in the dust, which I don't mind figuring things out for myself, but not if I'm forced to do so to illegitimately lengthen the game. The game lets you explore, but like a few other point-and-click adventure games, you can't really advance unless you check every essential object, which essentially translates to click every single thing you can put the cursor on. And why aren't adventure games popular again? I wasn't going to cave into a walkthrough, so I spent about 10 to 20 minutes at a time before each major cutscene triggered, and spent even more time exploring after that, only to find Tate on the floor for some reason and not realizing he could have just left the room, came back, and he'll be there again. No, that wasn't a waste of time. That was a perfect way to spend time. So he tells me to burn the statue, then I encountered a girl, who is Tate's daughter, by the way, who is possessed thanks to the cursed statue. I get it going, then Bates spawn.
Hey, you little shit. What good is it gonna do to burn that? That's the way I do it.
And because I didn't know what to do, I get stabbed, and, well, I beat the game again, I guess. Try it again, and you have to pick up the amulet that Alyssa dropped somehow. With graphics like this, it could get hard to tell what happened.
Amulet!
So after that, we burn it, beat the chapter, and begin new chapter.
Oh.
Agent Norman Jaden, FBI.
Hey, you okay? Alex Corey, Monterey County Police.
Stephanie, how is she?
She was badly injured, but she'll be okay. She's not gonna die.
Man, that's one tough girl. Multiple gunshot wounds and a gaping knife wound just wasn't enough to take this little possessed girl's life. Drink your milk, kids. Mr. T's been outclassed. And so, we're at the hospital and get ready for... Well, that's a zombie, alright. Yeah, forget dramatically or even subtly introducing your new enemy of major occurrence. This game is for people who thought that first zombie you see in Resident Evil was all too subtle for their taste. Either that or they have no taste at all. Now, one main issue with the zombies is that they are the most annoying things to encounter. More annoying than any other game that featured them, and this is one at a time, mind you. Yes, Bates can dispatch the zombies with a single bullet, but for certain zombies, they don't immediately die, meaning if you return to the room when you first found that zombie, they will always reappear in that room. They are only truly dead if, and only if, their body disappears. A guaranteed way to kill one is to play as Alyssa. You go into a woman's restroom to use an infinite supply of brooms to kill them instantly. Speaking of that, Alyssa can only go into the women's restroom. Duh, right? But she cannot go into the men's restroom at all. Bates can, however, and vice versa. What purpose does this play? Spoiler, nothing! There's either a zombie in there, or it serves no purpose in the main game, so you might as well not bother. Glad this restriction was here. Oh, and zombies are everywhere, and I don't mean you're being overwhelmed or anything, you get one at a time, but the problem is that in about 90% of all the rooms in this stage has a zombie in it that you are forced to either shoot, that is if it works, or run to the woman's restroom and broom its head down. Oh, and I should bring up the health system in this game. Wait, health? There's health in this game, as in physical damage health? Last time I checked, there was a panic mode or some kind of health system, but for the character's stress instead. In previous games, if the character goes through a lot of stress or survives an encounter, that character gets more stressed as indicated by the image or color of the cursor depending on the game. Stress is recovered over time. You could argue that this is easier to manage, but at the same time, it does not make any sense considering that the most amount of damage she takes is being touched by a zombie. No bites, not even a slap, touched. Might as well be the kissing zombies and elite beat agents, they're just as dangerous at this point. Everything else just has her stepping aside unless maybe she's constantly breaking bones. Oh, and you take damage when you switch to baits. Because challenge. Speaking of which, there's practically no challenge considering that first aid kits are always in one particular area, always respawn when you need one, which is good considering you'll use one as soon as you touch it, and ironically, it's kind of pointless to get one. White and orange, you can survive a hit if you rapidly tap the action button, but in red, you're pretty much dead. No problem! You can simply respawn in the same area with the health back at orange if you're being pursued. Aside from the stalkers and zombies, there are traps that can be triggered at will. The trick is that they don't look threatening at first glance like the first couple of games did, but the traps they use here can range all the way down to ridiculously unbelievable. Like getting jabbed in the gut by a statue, getting hit on the head by a picture, yes, a picture. And at a couple of points, you'll have to examine even intimidating people who are obvious traps, but you need to in order to... Did I say she was constantly breaking her bones? I was only kidding. So, she dies from a simple grab. Can we get Kevin from Home Alone in here? I mean, he has a better chance to survive than a 17-year-old frail woman. Just saying. Oh, and you encounter a couple new characters in this chapter. This one is Chief Nurse Cook. Yeah, really.
This is the end. Everyone's gonna die. To wander about forever?
Excuse me.
This is the end. Everyone's gonna die. To wander about forever?
Is this real voice acting I'm hearing? There's no way it could be any worse in your voice acting than this. We're talking Birdemic lazy here. It's amazing to see that the actress just did not care. Oh, and here is a news reporter called Bowman.
Who the hell? Oh, sorry. Didn't mean to yell so loud. I'm just a newspaper reporter. I'm Doug Bowman. Pleasure's mine. There's a big story here. A whole lot bigger than I thought. See ya.
And his importance, I'll keep it a secret. Trust me, you'll love it. There is also this detective from earlier who decides to, well, listen to this.
I still think Tate's the guy who did it.
Uncle Philip?
Uh-huh. There was yellow blood at his house, remember? There's a creature here, too, with yellow blood. Tate's missing.
Missing? No.
I think we should go over to the lab. Tate's the boss there, isn't he? All right, then. Let's get out of here. I'll go over now. You come later.
Leave a civilian behind and make the escape yourself. Guess that's why he's in this game. Hey, I don't care. I don't blame him if he wants to bail from this game. This